So anyways, we get out to Nevada, and our brother-in-law had been talking about Massacre Rim, which is, Kevin will explain what it is. But he had been talking, he had mentioned it on and
While
off.
you talk, I'll pull it up.
He had been mentioning it on and off for a little while about driving up there and checking it out and staying out there. And it's known as what they call a dark sky sanctuary, which...
Let's see if I can do this.
Yeah, we're getting educated on these dark sky sanctuaries on the comments, and I really appreciate it. It's actually very interesting.
Yeah, okay, here we go. So, this is just like a website that talks about it. So I didn't know this was the thing.
I didn't either.
So there are these certain areas of the world that, because of the geography, because of the fact that they're so far from any artificial light source, they're like these designated dark sky areas. And apparently there's a lot more of them
Than I knew.
than I knew. I'll make this a little
Yeah.
so you can see us.
According to Poucher, who commented, there's one in Ohio, actually.
I would believe that.
I would too. And then Boundary Waters is a dark sky.
Yeah, someone told us about that
And
too.
then
yeah.
someone commented that Katahdin, the area of Katahdin, is also a dark sky
That also makes
sanctuary.
sense.
Yeah.
So the point is, you can go there if it's not cloudy, and you can see like all these, like, as you can see on the screen right now, you can see like you just see all like the Milky Way. You can like see all the stuff that you couldn't normally see because there's no light. And like, honestly, there have been many times backpacking, you get some pretty good views.
Mm-hmm.
But this place is supposed to be like magnitudes better.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know. So anyway,
But it's also important to note that, what was it? Nevada is like 66%, something like that, public land.
Oh, no. No, it's like 85%.
Oh, I thought it was like in the 60s.
The state of Nevada, 85% of it is owned by the government and is designated as Bureau of Land Management.
Yep.
Which is very cool because they're very loosely regulated, other than like Area 51 and that stuff.
Yeah.
And
but it gets some great opportunities for recreating.
it is crazy out there. I mean, if you just live in Nevada, I mean, it is a random place to live. Let's say you're in like Reno, like we were, like Carson City. Like you can drive, to the east a mile or two, and you're in the desert, and you're like dune buggying and like stargazing, whatever. And then you drive to the west, and you're in the mountains of Northern California. So it's like timber country, it's like mountainous. So, and they're so close that there's just like so much stuff to do out there. And part of that is because there's so much of this BLM land. And so that's where we went in. I should pull this. I should get some Google Maps up.
Yeah, and those of you that watch the video, our brother-in-law has a Jeep Rubicon.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, you could not do this without that. You needed a lifted SUV with aggressive tires and the ability.
Aggressive tires. And I was pleasantly surprised with how many pickup trucks I saw out there in that. Yeah. I didn't realize you could do that kind of stuff in a pickup truck, but you definitely needed something lifted, I think.
Yeah. And tires, man, because I mean the drive, I mean, probably half of the trip was on a dirt road.
Yeah.
It was a 4.5 hour drive. About half of it was on a dirt road. And then probably about 50% of that was on a road that was like,
I mean, calling it a road
was like boulders.
It's incorrect, right? Okay. So here we go. So before I make sure that's the lake bed. So this gives you, we'll get this up on the screen here, folks. Once I can get this out of the way. So yeah, it's 4.5 hours north of Reno. And all right, so here we are. This kind of gives you a general sense for like the scope of things. So right up here, so you can see California right in here. Like that's the only way to describe it. It's just like there, and there's like the dried lake bed. If you zoom out, you can just see, like, Reno and stuff, and Tahoe is down there. So it's in the middle of nowhere. And the actual sanctuary area itself is probably like, it's like 30 or 40 square miles.
Yeah.
So it's like a sanctuary area inside of public lands, and the only access, as Andy kind of talked about is like
if you want to drive
dirt path.
It's a dirt path. Or I mean, of course, you could walk in, you could backpack in, but
yeah, you could.
You could. It'd be interesting. But yeah, and when we say dirt path, no, it's like sand, boulders, rocks. But
it's not dirt. It's like jagged rocks and stuff.
But it is like an established kind of Jeep trail, that runs a few miles through a certain area of it, which we took. But like then there's nothing.
So we got in the Rubicon, we got up in there. I will say the drive there, as we discussed, was beautiful.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I've never been to non-Las Vegas, Nevada. You know, there's a lot of cool stuff in Nevada. And driving north, it was beautiful because you got like beautiful mountains on one side, and then you got the desert on the other side. So I was kind of blown away by that. And there were people rock mining, on the side of the road.
Yeah, like looking for rocks.
There's
like geodes.
There's a certain term for it that they
rock jockey.
I don't know.
Rock hounds.
Anyway, so we go up, beautiful drive. We get up there, and what were your first thoughts? What were you expecting?
I don't know. I think I was expecting like the area to look different than the area that we had been going through, but it was all just open desert.
It's endless desert.
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but so the thing that sucked is, of course, we went there and it was cloudy, so we could still see stars.
And like, hold on, we got to preface that it's never cloudy in this part of the country.
Yeah,
we were in Reno. I was there for a week. Literally blue skies every freaking day.
Yep.
And then the night we go up there, although it was cloudy, and if I put some pictures on Instagram, we had some windows.
Yes, we did. And in the video, like I got up at like 4, you got up at like midnight, and it was just
so So we stayed up. So it's actually cool. You can look up the optimal window for these sorts of things, and the optimal window was 9 p.m. to I think 2 a.m. And so part of the challenge of this is just staying up. Andy was crushing a cold brew at like 7 p.m. because we don't normally stay up that late.
Yeah.
And the window just starts at 9 p.m. It doesn't, it takes some time till it's like peak. So anyway, at 9 p.m. rolls around and we have some breaks in the clouds. They weren't great. I took some pictures. They were okay. We're like, oh, this sucks, but it was still fun.
No, it was cool to explore like that type of landscape in Nevada.
Yes.
And seeing the dry, I've never seen like the dried lake beds.
Yeah, we'll get to that.